Hi there! As you can see this morning it snowed, so I'm going to go out for a little wander around my local area. If you're a regular to the channel, you might be aware that over Christmas I broke my toe. It's now 4 weeks after that, and my toe is just about okay for walking around. So this morning we've got this lovely snow, so I couldn't resist getting out with a camera, and I'm just going to walk around my local area just to see what I can find. There's great opportunities because there's branches that are covered with snow, there's sun just poking through the trees, so there's great potential this morning to spot some really nice images. But either way, I know I'm really going to enjoy my photography. Lots of people who watch my videos aren't subscribed, so if that's you, do me a really big favour and click like, subscribe and the bell notifications. I've made a start just having a look around the garden. Now we're very lucky to have quite a big garden with lots of trees, and this apple tree here behind me makes a really nice shape, and it's covered with snow, and at the moment there's a little bit of blue sky behind it, and I can balance that really easily because the foreground is so bright because of the snow. There's no problem balancing the exposure between that and the sky, and so that's made quite a nice image. So this is certainly not going to be an award-winning image, but I've just spotted this road sign here that means slippery road, and if you can see behind me, clearly this road is very slippery. Now I'm stood on it at the moment, and because quite a lot of cars have come up and down it, I can assure you it is very slippery. But I couldn't resist taking the photograph just because it's a bit of fun. And what also happened, while I was setting the camera up, several cars came past, so I've got a clean shot of the road with the sign and a couple with a car and a van. A local businessman lives just here, and at the bottom of the drive he's got a really elaborate statue of a stag, and so I've taken a photograph of that with the snow on. The businessman that owns the stag also owns this big pond here behind me, and because he's a neighbour, he said I can have access to it whenever I want, and so I couldn't resist coming and having a little look today, and I've found some really nice compositions down the side of the lake, and what I've done is I've put some old plants that have nearly died but they've got snow on the top, so it brings them back to life almost, in the foreground, and there's a little bit of blue sky in the background, and it makes for a really nice composition. Just behind me here is a super interesting tree on its own right, but with the snow on it makes it doubly interesting, and the sun has just poked through these trees, so I've got a shot with all of those three elements in, and hopefully that should be quite nice. Every so often the sun comes from behind a cloud and lights the foreground area here in front of me and makes for some really striking lighting conditions. Now at the moment it's gone behind a cloud again, but when it was out and lit this area here in front of me, what I did was I hid it behind a branch. That created a really nice starburst, but it saved it being far too bright and far too dominant in the image, because that is the problem sometimes taking photographs into the sun. You create a really really bright spot in the image that can draw the viewer's eye towards it, and then you really struggle with getting good exposure as well. But in that particular image, because I hid it behind a branch, I got the starburst, but all of the foreground, because it was white with snow, is nicely exposed as well. I've come alongside the brook that runs through this wood, and the sun's back out again, but I am now going to be on a bit of a time limit because the sun is getting quite warm and it's starting to melt all of the snow on the branches of the trees. So I'm going to be limited in how much time I've got. I think I'll have a good hour yet because there is still quite a bit of cloud about and the sun might go back in. I found this really interesting tree here that makes for a lovely composition, and what really brings this image to life is that the sun is coming through the trees and just catching this pool of water. Really it's more of a puddle than anything else, but it's got ice on the top, and so it just brings the whole image to life. Just behind the camera here, the sun is coming through some trees and making some really interesting long shadows on the snow. Now I have taken a shot into the sun, which is going to be really tricky to sort out back in the computer because the exposure's gone mad with the bright snow and the bright sun. It's been really difficult to balance it. So what I've done is I've done an exposure stack. So when I get back in the computer, I'm going to try and HDR it, but I don't know how it'll work because it might completely confuse the program because of the bright snow and the bright sky. So I'll show you what the result is now, and if it fails, I'll put a note on the screen. Leading lines in photographs are always important. So when I came across these planks here that have been put down to enable people to cross the stream, I couldn't resist including them in the composition just to take your eye through the picture to these trees that were lit by the sun, but it gives some interesting foreground interest as well as a leading line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you with my favourite shot from the morning. Now I did post this on Instagram and somebody said what a magical shot it looks, and I do agree. I think the way that the light is streaming in from the right hand side, catching that branch there on the floor on the left, and the whole thing has a misty magical quality to it that really does make it stand out. Now some of that was done in post-processing. I did add a little mystical filter to it just to bring it to life. But overall, I'm still really pleased with the image, and it is definitely my favourite from the morning. Well, I've really enjoyed myself this morning and I hope you've enjoyed watching as well. And as a bonus, I think I might have some fairly reasonable images as well to take away from this snowy morning. But the best part is now gone because this sun is really making all the snow that's on the branches melt, and so that magical quality that I had this morning is now gone. But even so, I've still had a great time. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, you can always let me know down below in the comments or nip over to my Vero account, that's at Upton Photography. Leave me your comments there and you can see lots of my photographs. Now if you like what I do on the channel and want to help support me to make future content like this, you can also visit my Teespring store. There I've got a range of merchandise on offer, so head over there because a purchase really does help me out. And also don't forget the super thanks button, but you don't have to spend any money at all to support the channel. You can do that simply by clicking like, subscribe and the bell notifications, because it does really help me out and it makes sure that you don't miss out on any future content. Watch out for next week's video, that goes live on Sunday. In the meantime, you can go and check out this video just up here, but all that's left now is to say stay safe and I'll see you soon.